lovelies, my name is Lecka, and today we're going to be going over a first turn kill, or FTK deck, of Gem Knights, which is very, very fun because you get to burn your opponent with effect damage and win without them even being able to play a single card, which is fantastic. So if you guys are excited for this video, make sure you go ahead and lick that like button and subscribe because they taste delicious, and it helps support the channel immensely. We are almost to 1,000 subscribers, which is fucking insane, and as soon as we hit 1,000, we'll be able to partner the channel, which would be awesome! So if you guys are excited for that, then please, 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 please show some support if you like these videos, even just a tiny bit, and subscribe because it means the big world of difference. But let's go ahead and get on into the deck list. Now, for this really fun gem burn deck, we are having a 40 card deck, and if you guys want the cards specifically, they're going to be in the description down below. But they are essentially synergizing in order for us to get Lady Lapis Lazuli onto the field, so that she can do effect damage based on the amount of monsters that are summoned on the field on both the opponent's side and our side, and then use Gem Knight Master Diamond's effects to get rid of Lady Lapis Lazuli from the graveyard so that it can become Lady Lapis Lazuli, and use her ability to do even more effect damage, again, to the opponent over and over, and summon more and more and more Master Diamonds to get rid of more and more Lady Lapis Lazulis to do enough damage to OTK our opponent. OTK means one turn kill. Now, how do we get that to happen? All the other cards in here help support that by going and doing their own unique things to help us get Lady Lapis Lazuli, Master Diamond, and Lady Brilliant Diamond out onto the field. So, for example, we have Gem-Knight Lapis and Gem-Knight Lazuli here because we need them in order to get Lady Lapis Lazuli onto the field. Also, Lazuli is great because when it's in the graveyard, we can use it to get Lapis back into our hand. We have a Crystal Rose because we can use it to get rid of a Gem Knight, and then it becomes that Gem Knight, which is great, so it acts as an extra copy of it. We have two Doki Dokis in here because we can discard a rock monster and then it gets us another one from the same kind of attribute back into our hand. Back onto the field in face-up attack position or face-down defense position, which is really nice so that we can get more monsters out onto the field for fusion summoning. We have Emancipator Researcher in here so that we can excavate the top 5 cards of our deck and hopefully special summon a rock monster that we find there. There's basically all rock monsters in this deck, minus the plants that we need in order to try and fish out our Brilliant Fusion, which thankfully we're able to do most often with this deck. And the whole reason that we have Lone Fire Blossom in here is so that we can use its ability to get rid of itself, to then summon Scorpio, to then summon Darlingtonia, so that we can then use Darlingtonia's ability to get us Brilliant Fusion, so that we can summon Gem Knight Lady Brilliant Diamond with the Brilliant Fusion, so that we can then do our shenanigans of getting out Lady Lapis Lazuli and Master Diamond and all those other things. We also have Gem Knight Obsidian because if this card is sent from your hand to the graveyard, for example, if it's in your hand and then you use it as fusion material, you can target one level 4 or lower monster in your graveyard and special summon that target, so we have even more resources again for more fusion summoning shenanigans. We have 2 Ash Blossoms because meta. We also have 2 of the Emancipator Analyzers because you're only allowed to have 2, which is nice because if we happen to go second, we're able to special summon this card from our hand if our opponent is the only one that controls a monster, which is really nice, and it does the same thing as the Researcher, where it allows us to excavate the top 5 cards of our deck and special summon any non-tuner level 4 or lower rock-type monster that we find. We have Block Dragon in here specifically so that we can attach it to Lady Brilliant Diamond with the effect of Union Carrier, so that when we get rid of Lady Brilliant Diamond in order to summon Lady Lapis Lazuli, we can use its ability to get 3 more monsters whose levels add up to 8 into our hand from the deck, which is really, really nice, again, for even more fusion materials. We have Foolish Burial so that we can send a monster from our deck to the graveyard so that we can more easily use that for all the other shenanigans of getting monsters from our graveyard back onto the field, and like with Doki Doki. We also have this so that we have an extra copy of our Black Garden, which is really nice. Gem Knight Fusion so that we can fuse our monsters together to do stuff. I have Emancipator Sign so that we can special summon a rock monster from our graveyard, which synergizes really well with Foolish Burial and with a lot of the other things that we have going on in this deck. We also have Emancipator Friends, which allows us to excavate the top cards of our deck again to do more shenanigans. Black Rose Garden. Black Garden is really, really nice because it allows us to have our opponent's field, especially if we get to go first, get swarmed with different tokens. So they are going to have to figure out a way to get rid of those tokens, but more importantly, if we can swarm their field with tokens, it makes it so that we can do even more effect damage to them with Lady Lapis Lazuli because they have more monsters that were special summoned onto the field, which is really, really nice. We have 1 Brilliant Fusion because it's so fucking good and it's the only fusion card that can be in here that's at 1. And then we have 2 Called by the Graves for meta. Now, with our extra deck, we have 3 Lady Lapis Lazulis because she and Master Diamond are kind of the big ones that we need in the deck because Master Diamond's ability makes it so that he can banish a Gem Knight that is in the graveyard and then turn into that card for a turn, which is really nice. And with Gem-Knight Lady Brilliant Diamond, it's really nice because she can make it so that you can special summon once per turn a face-up Gem-Knight monster we control to the graveyard, and then special summon a Gem-Knight fusion monster from the extra deck, ignoring its summoning conditions, which is how we get out either Lady Lapis Lazuli or Master Diamond, depending on what we need to do. Garden Rose Maiden is here just so that we can summon it in case we need to get Black Garden onto our field and we weren't able to get it out in another way, which is really nice. Adamantipator Ryzen is also here to be able to let us excavate the top 5 cards of our deck should we need to by getting it out there, but usually you're not going to need to get this out onto the field unless something goes really, really wrong and we only have Adamantipator monsters. It's super important to have Gem Knight Phantom Quartz in here. I have it at 2 because I found that 3 was kind of excessive and unnecessary. So I have the quartz in here, but if you want to run 3, you can. If you want to take Adamantipator Ryzen down to 1 and then put a 3rd quartz in here, there's nothing wrong with that. But I just have it here at 2. This card is super nice because you can pay 1,000 life points and it effectively acts as a fusion summon for a Gem Knight fusion monster from our extra deck. And it allows you to do that by shuffling fusion materials in your possession from your deck list that are banished or in the graveyard, which is so nice, and again, synergizes very well with having Foolish Burial and a bunch of other cards that send things into the graveyard. We have Crystron Halqifibrax for being in here just in case I need to get out another Adamantipator from the deck. If we end up having fusion materials, I don't really normally have to have it out, which is fine. Cross Sheep is super important to have in this deck because it's the only way for you to get rid of the 2 dead cards that Scorpio and Darlingtonia become when they're on your field after you've already gotten your Brilliant Fusion from them for your polymerization option. So it's good to have on there, and with all the fusion summoning you're going to be doing, it's really helpful to have. And of course Union Carrier so that we can do that Block Dragon to Lady Brilliant Diamond play in order to get those 3 cards into our hand. Now that's how the deck works, but that's all just talking about it. Let's actually show you guys some very, very good examples of how you get a first turn kill, and then what it looks like if you can't do a first turn kill because your opponent tries to stop you, and how to work around that because you're not always going to be able to do an FTK, but when you can, it's super fun. So let me go ahead and show you guys all those examples now. Our first hand here is really, really nice because we have our Lonefire Blossom, and they're going to try and max C us, and we're just going to play through their max C because we have no other option. So we're going to do our Scorpio play. We're going to get rid of our Adamantipator card because it's the least useful to us, to get Darlingtonia, to then get Brilliant Fusion. We're going to then get rid of both of our dead cards now since they're completely useless to us in order to get out Cross Sheep. And once Cross Sheep is on the field, we're then going to play our Brilliant Fusion card so that we can get out Lady Brilliant Diamond onto the field by getting rid of a Gem-Knight Lapis, Lazuli, and Obsidian. Boom shakalaka. Brilliant Fusion makes it go down with its life points, with its attack points and defense points down to 0. We are using Lazuli's effect to get a Lapis back into our hand so we have another material to use for the future. We're then using Cross Sheep's ability to special summon Adamantipator Analyzer from our graveyard onto the field, which then allows us to excavate the top 5 cards of our deck and play any card that we find there that is a rock type, which we found with Crystal Rose. We're then going to use Crystal Rose to get rid of a Lady Lapis, so that we can use it, or Gem-Knight Lapis, so that we can use it to be on the field as another Gem-Knight. They're going to use a Dogmatika card on us and play that by special summoning it, but thank God, I thought it was going to be an Ash Blossom and we were going to get fucked here, but thankfully it wasn't. We're then going to summon our Lady Lapis Lazuli to do 2,500 damage to them. And then, boom shakalaka, we're going to get rid of both of those in order to play our Quartz onto the field and use Quartz in order to allow us to search our deck to get another Gem-Knight Fusion. We're then going to use its ability to shuffle 3 of our cards, the Lazuli, the Lapis, and the Obsidian, back into our deck, so we can get Gem Knight Master Diamond onto the field. We're then going to use Crystal Rose's effect in the graveyard to get rid of Lady Brilliant Diamond so we can put it onto the field, and again, use its ability to get rid of Obsidian so that we have another Gem Knight effectively on the field. We then used Master Diamond's ability to get rid of a Lapis from our extra deck put it in our graveyard, and then from our graveyard we got rid of another Lady Lapis Lazuli and banished it, which is why we have 1 in here and now 2 in our graveyard from banishings and from discarding. We're then going to use a Gem Knight Fusion in order to get another Gem-Knight Master Diamond onto the field, which is great. It's actually a nice thing that they have Dogmatica, I'm not sure exactly how you say that one, out here, because we can get rid of that extra Lady Lapis Lazuli so that this can use its ability again to do 3,000 damage, and despite them having their entire deck in their hand, we still win! Woo! And that's the example of a first turn kill with this deck. And here's another first turn kill example, but this time with the play of Union Carrier so that I can show you how that one works as well. Now we got another Lone Fire Blossom, which is great, so it's going to go effectively the same way as the first round, where we get Scorpio out, use Scorpio to get out Darlingtonia by getting rid of our Adamantipator Analyzer, so that we can get our Brilliant Fusion into our hand. We're going to get rid of both of those dead cards so that we can get Cross Sheep onto the field. We're then going to play our Brilliant Fusion by getting rid of, this time, 2 Lapises and 1 Lazuli, so we can get out Lady Brilliant Diamond. We're going to use Lazuli's effect to get one of our Lapises back into our hand, so we have another material in hand for future shenanigans. Doing both of those to get, since we have 2 Lazulis in there, we can get both Lapis back in hand. And we can use Cross Sheep's ability to get out our Adamantipator Analyzer. Because there's another rock monster on the field, we can special summon our Adamantipator Researcher, and then use both of their abilities to excavate the top 5 cards of our deck. We found a Doki Doki, which was great, and we're going to see if we can get another one that's a non-tuner. With Analyzer, we were not able to get that one, unfortunately, but we were still able to gamble and get one, which was fine. We then were able to get Obsidian onto the field, and with this one, we are going to get Union Carrier. So we got rid of our Adamantipator Analyzer and Doki Doki in order to summon Union Carrier, so that we can now use Union Carrier's ability to get Block Dragon from our deck, attached to Lady Brilliant Diamond. Then we're going to use Lady Brilliant Diamond's ability to get rid of itself, so that we can then summon Lady Lapis Lazuli, and then use Block Dragon's effect to get a Lapis, a Crystal Rose, and an Obsidian in hand. We're then going to send another Lady Lapis Lazuli from our extra deck into the graveyard for future use for Master Diamond, and do 2,500 damage to them because of the 5 cards that we have on our field. It does 500 for each. And now we have a lot of materials in hand. We're going to get rid of Obsidian and Lady Lapis Lazuli in order to link summon our Quartz here, which we're then going to use Quartz's ability to get ourselves a Gem Knight Fusion from being leak summoned. And we're going to get rid of the 2 Lapises and the 1 Obsidian we have in hand to get a Gem Knight Master Diamond, ba-bam, onto the field before we even use Quartz's ability. We're then going to have a Lapis special summon because of Obsidian's ability from it being used as fusion material from the hand. Master Diamond is now getting rid of Lady Lapis Lazuli by banishing it, so we could do 3,000 damage. We have another Lapis in hand from the Lazuli's effect. We're then able to banish a card to get Gem Knight Fusion back into our hand, so that we can use it again in order to get rid of Master Diamond and Lapis, so that we can get another Gem Knight Master Diamond out and do the same thing again, of sending the other Lady Lapis Lazuli that we had in our graveyard into the banish zone, taking another one from our extra deck into our graveyard, just in case we need it for something, and attack and kill them, but we were able to use it to have enough effect damage to get rid of all of their life points without needing to do anything with that, so it worked out really, really well. But Lecka, I hear you saying, what about if you go second, or your opponent actually has an Ash Blossom, and something goes wrong? Well, let me show you how that works as well. Because, again, we have our Lone Fire Blossom, which is great, so we're going to try and do the same shit that we always do by getting rid of it, getting our Scorpio out, using Scorpio to get rid of Doki Doki so that we can play Darlingtonia and get our Brilliant Fusion into hand. But, oh no! They used Droll and Lockbird, so now we can't get cards from our deck into our hand, which is kind of our whole shtick. So, that fucks us over pretty bad. I got rid of my 2 dead cards and put out Cross Sheep because why not? I should have probably just left both of them on the field for defensive purposes, but I wanted to make sure that they were gone off of my field because they're plant monsters and they completely fuck up all of my synergy with all of the rock monsters I had. So if I was going to have something die, I wanted it to be Cross Sheep. So it made sense in my mind to do it that way rather than leaving 2 on the field, because I didn't know if they were going to be able to special summon 2 or more monsters, or if they bricked as well. I didn't want to take that risk. They ended up being able to get rid of Cross Sheep, and then attacked us with that 3600 Stonk Attack monster, but we're still alive, which means we're gonna kill them! So now that we have our Brilliant Fusion in hand, we're gonna use our Adamantipator signs in order to special summon Doki Doki, And then we're going to use Doki Doki's ability to get rid of our Lapis so that we can then do some more shenanigans. But they ended up playing a trap card on us, which targets a face-down monster and negates its ability, which is what I was trying to get drawn out because they had 2 cards over here that were face down and they scared me. So before they negated any of my fusion cards, I wanted to make sure that I could try and get it out with something else, so I'm glad that I did that. Now we were able to use our Brilliant Fusion, just like usual, to get out Lady Brilliant Diamond onto the field. They were able to put their trap card back with this ability. We were able to use Lazili's effect in order to get both of our Lapises into our hand. And then we were able to use both Lapises to get out Lady Lapis Lazuli, and then use its ability to do 2,000 damage to them. We were able to send a Lady Lapis Lazuli from the extra deck to the graveyard by doing that, which was great for future use for Master Diamond. We're then going to use Lady Brilliant Diamond's ability to get rid of Lady Lapis Lazuli so that we can have Gem-Knight Master Diamond come out, get rid of one of the Gem Knights of Lady Lapis Lazuli to do some more damage to them. Do the same thing with Gem-Knight Lapis in our hand from Gem-Knight Lazuli, get rid of both of them to summon Quartz. That way we can have Quartz come through to give us Obsidian in hand, because we already had a Gem-Knight Fusion, so I might as well have an extra resource. We're then going to use Lady Lapis Lazuli and a couple other cards to summon another Gem-Knight Master Diamond, because Quartz's effect puts them back into their respective areas, so I wanted another one from the Banished Zone to be in our extra deck, so I could, boom, put it away just like that. We did 2,000 damage to them. We're then using our Gem-Knight Fusion to get rid of Lapis, Obsidian, and Quartz to summon our last Gem-Knight Master Diamond of the duel, so that we can, in fact, use it to get rid of the last Lady Lapis Lazuli we had in there, use its ability to do some more effect damage, and do 2,500 in order to win the game. So even if your opponent is able to kind of mess up your combo and stop you in between, as long as you're able to avoid getting killed on their turn, you're still able to work through it and get the effect combinations to go off and happen, which is really nice. But that's going to be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, then please go ahead and lick that like button and subscribe, because they taste delicious and it helps out the channel immensely. We are so close to 1,000, and I would love to do that and hit that number, because that would be a huge milestone for us to do. So if you enjoyed this and found this helpful in any way, make sure that you do that. If you want to build this deck list, the deck list will be in the description down below so that you can do this for yourself. But without taking up any more of y'all's time, I will go ahead and let you beautiful people go. Goodbye, my lovelies.